Hi, I'm Maren. Welcome back to my channel, Maren Makes It. In today's video, we're going to be going into a deep dive on the brand Kiss and the nails that they make. If you live in the US, you've definitely seen these nails around. They're sold at all major retailers, Target, Walmart, CVS, Walgreens, even the regular grocery store, as well as beauty supply stores like Sally and Ulta. The selection might vary at these places, but they are very widespread and very commonly available. A few years ago, I really was getting into doing my own nails, and I realized that I was totally overwhelmed by all the options I saw on their website. And I couldn't find a video like this, so I decided to order almost one of every single thing on the website. And then over the past 2 years, I've been trying all these different styles out for you guys so I can make this super in-depth video that will tell you all the information you need to know if you're interested in understanding all the different Kiss products out there and which ones you want to be buying. So some of the questions we're going to be answering today is how long do they last? What are the different lengths available? What are the different shapes available? What's the difference between the Vogue-ish collection and the gel collection and the imPRESS collection? There are so many words out there that are specific to these nails, and I want to take you through all of them today. Okay, I know I said today, but it's actually going to be between today's video and then next week's video. I decided to split this into a part 1 and a part 2 because this just got so long. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel, turn on the bell for notifications so that you're notified when I post part 2 next week. As you can see, I'm currently not wearing any nails. I have my nails perfectly clean and a blank canvas so I can try on anything I need to today as part of making this video. I also want to say before we start that I am not getting paid to make this video at all. This video is not sponsored by Kiss. I'm not an affiliate of Kiss. If I can find any discount codes or friend and family type discount things, I'm going to link them in the description down below like I always do, but I want you guys to know that this is my unbiased opinion. I bought all the nails you're going to see in this video with my own money. Now, as far as buying Kiss nails goes, like I said, you can find these at most major retailers and big box type stores that sell anything related to beauty in the US. But the biggest selection is actually going to be on their website. That's where you're going to have the most choices by far. It's also, though, where it's going to take the longest for you to actually get those things, because if you order them on Amazon or you go to Target or Walgreens or your local pharmacy, of course, you're going to be able to get those products same day. But for the largest possible selection and color and size options that I've never seen in stores, definitely their website is the way to go. Before I show you these nails, let's just briefly go through the brand history. I think it's always interesting to know the history of a brand when you're supporting and buying from them, of course. So they started in Flushing, New York in 1989 with two brothers named John Kang and Sun Yong Kang, as well as Wang Shi Kang, with the three of them basically having the goal of bringing the salon home to people. 3 years later, in 1992, they were getting sold in their first Walgreens, and that was really the big break for the company. In 1999, they became part of a bigger parent company called IV Enterprises. In 2014, they established their global headquarters as being on Port Washington, New York, which is actually on Long Island, for those of you who don't know. By 2018, they had grown so much that they needed an even bigger headquarters, so they built an even bigger headquarters on Port Washington. I would imagine that 2020 and everything that happened during those years when salons were closed drove huge sales for them as people turned to DIY options to keep up with their regular kind of beauty routines and habits. Kiss is now being sold in 95 different countries around the world and 50,000 retail locations, which is huge, especially considering this brand just started in 1992. They are barely over 30 years old. So just think about how big the company grew from just 3 people starting a little startup in New York. Anyways, I just think it's always interesting to know the history of a brand when you're purchasing from them, and I really want to keep this video as in-depth as possible. So now for the actual nails themselves. If you guys know me at all, you'll know that I love to make a good decision tree or chart to kind of categorize things, and I definitely did this on this as well. So I'm going to take you through my chart. Basically, this chart outlines all the different options that you have under Kiss nails. So the first big difference that you're going to see between some of the nails is that some are glue-on and some are press-on. So imPRESS is the name of all of their press-on line. And then all of the other glue-on ones will just not be called anything or be called the name of their collection, but they're not going to say this imPRESS on top. That imPRESS is your giveaway that it's a press-on type nail. What do I mean when I say press-on nail? So I just took one out of the container here, and it literally means that it has this little plastic thing on the back, and then you pull this off, and there's a jelly coating in the inside, which is the adhesive itself. So this is very sticky now in the inside once I've pulled this off. And then what I would do is I would just position it over my nail like this. And then I'll literally do what the name says and impress, press down to make it hold. I usually try to hold down for at least 5 or 10 seconds because I just feel like that initial bonding, that initial pressure you apply is so helpful and so important to making these last longer. So there you go. That's how easy it is to apply an imPRESS nail. And you can see it looks really nice. It's really flush if you line it up right with the edge of my nail and the cuticle. So it really does look very nice and professional. Now, the vast majority of imPRESS nails are going to work like this, where you just pull off the back adhesive and apply it onto your nail that way. Occasionally, I've had ones that come like this. So they come with basically little individual sticky tabs that are in here. And then you have to put the sticky tab on the back of the nail itself. So basically, instead of the jelly stick being already on the back of the nail, you're putting the jelly stick on the back of the nail and then applying it to your nail. So that's basically just adding one extra step in there. But I think generally they're moving away from that. And I've only ever had 2 sets of nails I've ever bought from them that have come with this kind of a packet instead of having it already applied to the nail. But I just thought I'd make a note of that. All the imPRESS nails come with this little booklet thing in the back of the pack, which is going to be a prep pad. So it's an alcohol prep pad to prep your nails to make sure any natural oils are removed. This little tool you can use for pushing your cuticles back, and then it all folds into instructions. So if you forget how to do this for some reason, there's instructions right here, and they are in multiple different languages as well. Also a little mini nail file here on the front, sort of folded into the directions here, which you can use on your natural nails or also for filing the Kiss nails themselves if you want to change their shape a tiny bit to make them fit your fingers better. So now the glue-on nails come like this. They're usually in a bigger box than the imPRESS nails. The imPRESS nails are usually in a more narrow box. That's because they don't have to accommodate for the size of the glue and the glue being in the box as well. As you can see, because of this glue that's in here, the box has to be a little bit larger for the glue-on type nail. So this is what the glue-on nails come like. It looks similar where you have all the nails in the box, and then instead of there being an adhesive actually just on the back of this already, you're going to use the glue, which it's really nice. They give you a glue every time, so you have it right there. You don't have to buy something separate. You can if you want to. They do have other more premium glues that you can buy. I'll talk about those a little bit later in the video, but there is always a glue included. And so it comes with the little glue, you apply it to the nails, and then you stick the nails on with glue instead. You do have to wait a little bit longer here. You have a little bit of a drying time, which does make it take slightly longer to apply these in the imPRESS nails. But I do think the big advantage of using the glue-on nails is that they do last me a little bit longer. So the imPRESS nails generally last me 3 to 5 days that I can guarantee that they're gonna look good for. By the 5th day, usually some of them are starting to be a little wonky, especially if I've been doing a lot of dishes or cleaning or anything without wearing gloves, because that jelly-like glue in the back of them just starts to kind of dissolve. Because there's so many in a set, so there's usually 30 or 28 nails in a set, you obviously have 10 fingers, so you can obviously get more than one set out of each box, which is really nice. So sometimes if I'm losing 1 or 2, I'll just replace them with another one from my set. But if I'm starting to lose too many of them, or I can tell that some of them are getting a little bit wonky, I'll just take them all off and basically start over. But I will mention that too, that so out of any of them, the imPRESS or the glue-on ones, you generally have enough nails in here for at least 2 sets, sometimes 3, depending on the size of your nails, because sometimes the nails don't line up properly with the size of your nails. Like technically there's 30 in here, so you could do 3 sets because you have 10 fingers, right? But a lot of the time, like you might not have enough of your pinky size or your thumb size because they have all different sizes mixed in here so that it works for the most number of different people, if that makes sense. So generally I can count on 2 sets and then having a little bit of spares in here. When I get a box like this, it's very rare to actually get 3 sets out of it. What I will do sometimes though, I will say, is that if I buy 2 of the same box, or even if I just have 2 different ones, I'll like combine them when I have the leftover nails. So like for example, I'll do alternating nails on on one hand or one round of that, where I'm actually combining nails from 2 different sets. But anyway, I'm just getting into the weeds of it here, just kind of giving you some ideas of all the different things you can do to get the most bang for your buck out of each set of nails and not waste anything here. When I do the glue-on nails, the longest it's ever lasted me is 20 days of looking really good, which was absolutely amazing. I don't know why it lasted me that long that time. I think because I was really careful with doing dishes, wearing gloves for that, same with cleaning, and just not doing anything like yard work or, I don't know, furniture building or furniture moving or anything crazy that put a strain on my nails during that time. But I have gotten them to last up to 20 days. I would say safely, I can say about a week, maybe 10 days that I get out of the glue-on nails. So I will say that that is one advantage of the glue-ons over the stick-ons, is that they do last a little bit longer, but they are a little bit more tricky to apply, and they definitely take longer to apply. Something I'll show you here real quick is that with the stick-on nails, like this is the one I just put on, right? So if I really try to pick under the edge of this, I can actually pull it off, especially when they're a little bit longer like this. Like, look, I can actually pull that off, and I just put it on. When I do a glue-on nail, once it's really set, once that glue has really dried hard, I can't pull it off even if I want to. You can use nail polish remover or rubbing alcohol to sort of dissolve that glue and get it off that way, but there's no chance that I could just pick it off the way I can with the imPRESS type nails. So the imPRESS type nails are definitely a little bit more fragile because that jelly adhesive on the back is just not as strong as the glue will be. It just never will be. All right, so when it comes to the imPRESS nails, there's 3 lengths available. So you're going to have medium, short, and then kid size. So kid size are called minis. They are basically just smaller in every dimension. They're usually more childish designs too, but I don't have any of those since I'm not a kid and I don't have any kids, so I didn't want to buy them and then just kind of have them go to waste. But I'm just saying this so that those of you who do have kids out there can make note that they do exist in kid sizes too. I think the stick-on nails can be really fun for kids because obviously there's no drying time, they're very easy to do, and they don't last that long, so it's kind of like not a big commitment, and they're not very expensive either, so it's not a big deal if, you know, they don't end up lasting, because kids, you know, like to play and get into things, and, you know, nail polish might not last that long on them. But it could be a fun little project to do if you do have a daughter that does want to wear nails. There's also some really cute sets that they have that are mommy and me ones, kind of, where there's a matching big and a matching mini set that you can buy together, which I think would be so sweet and cute to do. As for the adult lengths, there's short, S, and then there's medium, which is M on the package always. So as you can see, here's the S for short and the M for medium, for example, on these packages. So I put on one of each of the nails. So this is a short nail on my ring finger here, and this is a medium nail on my ring finger. Now these are different shapes, but you can see, look at how much longer that medium over here goes over the tip of my finger than the short. The short is basically flush with the top of my fingertip. The medium clearly goes over in length. So that's basically the difference there on the lengths. And both of these were a size 6 nail. So in the kit, they always have all the nails numbered either on the back or on the little plastic tab that comes in them. It's going to start with nail size 0. That's going to be the biggest size, and it's going to go all the way to 13 or 12 usually. And so that's going to be the smallest size. So then you can match the sizes with your fingers, but these are both size 6 from their kit. So the sizes basically is going to change the width. So you can match the width to the width of your finger. I would say, you know, try to get it exactly to the edge of your finger, but not over. Once it goes over onto the skin, it can be kind of uncomfortable. And also that's gonna make it more likely for something to possibly catch on your nails and rip it off earlier than you'd want them to come off. That being said, you don't want to have like too much nail obviously showing on the side either, because you pick something that's way too small for your nail, that's not going to look so cute either. So try to match it as well as you can to the exact width of your nail. But if there's a little bit of room left over, like there is right here, you can see, better to have a little tiny bit of room left over where my nail shape doesn't exactly match the press-on nail. Better to have that than to have it like way hanging over my skin, if that makes sense. These are just some of the tricks that I figured out over the last 2 years for longevity of your nails, because if you're gonna put in the effort to do this, you want them to last, right? Anyway, so these are both size 6, so you can see the difference here. I'm going to measure them as well for you so you can see the actual length, because I know everybody's nail bed and nail size is totally different. So right here, I'm putting a ruler next to that size nail so you can compare the medium to the short and see just what the actual length difference is between the two. If I measure this carefully, you can see right here, it's coming in at about 3/8 of an inch long, and the medium length is almost a little over 3/4 of an inch long. The last thing I want to say about the lengths available is that we only have short and medium available to us in the imPRESS nails. Now, there are long and extra long. They're available in the glue-on nails. We'll get to that when we get to the glue-on part of this video, but I think the reason for that is because once you're doing the imPRESS, remember how I said the imPRESS, the jelly stick stuff, is less strong than the glue is? Well, the problem is this is already a medium length nail, and you know, it's not as strong, so it's much easier to take this off, especially when there's something right here for your nail to get caught on. Now imagine this nail was a long length or an extra long length. Now, I don't think that the imPRESS jelly stick stuff would actually be strong enough to hold that nail for very long. So that's my guess as to why Kiss does not make imPRESS nails in a long or extra long length. So that is one thing to note. If you're a girl who likes your nails really long, the imPRESS nails are not going to be your way to go, because you're not going to find anything longer than that medium length nail. Okay, so now that we've talked about nail lengths, the other thing you're going to have to choose is your nail shape. So the most common in the imPRESS nails is going to be the squoval. So it's a combination of a square and an oval. It's basically a square shape that has a little bit more rounded edges. So this nail is going to be what the squoval looks like. To me, this is kind of what I would consider the regular nail shape. If I pull out one in a darker color, you can see this shape even better. So you can see it's not a square because these edges are not perfectly squared off. Like, there is still a little bit of curve in the shape of the nail, but it's definitely not an oval either. It's sort of like a squared off oval or a rounded off square. That is by far the most common nail shape for the imPRESS design nails to come in. But there are a couple other options as well. So there's the extra wide squoval. So that is basically the same thing, but just extra wide. So if you're somebody who has a really wide nail bed where you're like, oh man, like the zero width that the regular nails come in isn't even wide enough for your thumb, you can go with those extra wide options. So this, for example, is what a zero looks like. So if we look at a zero, zero is usually too wide for my thumbnail, so I know that I don't need to go up to the extra wides, but there are extra wides available. If, let's say, this largest nail that comes in the imPRESS nails is not big enough for your largest finger, you do have that option available to you. So I just wanted to mention it. Now, there are a few styles that come in a true oval or a true square. So remember, it's going to be that squoval style, except the top will be a little bit more flat. Like, it will be like a little bit more squared off, basically, as if you had filed it to be a little bit more square in the square shape. And it's going to be a little bit more rounded than the squoval shape in that oval. So if I took this as my squoval, if I took it and filed right here on the corners, then I would get an oval shape. And if I filed right here on the top to make it more angular, then I would get a square shape. So it's a very minor difference between those shapes, and there's not a ton available in that square and that oval shape, but they do exist, so I thought I'd mention them here. Okay, I just went ahead and filed a squoval into an oval and also into a square. So you can see it's these options over here, so that you can kind of see the difference of what a square and what an oval would be like. So you can see the oval has the rounded corners as compared to the squoval, and the square is an even more squared off version of the squoval. So it's even more angular around the edges here. The other two popular shapes in the Kiss imPRESS nails are going to be the almond, so that's what this one is right here, and then the coffin, which is what this black one is right here on my middle finger. But the coffin has a wide back of the nail right here along the nail base, but then it gets narrower in the front, as you can see, and then the very front tip is actually flattened off. It's actually flat at the front. Where we compare it with the squoval is pretty much the same width at the back of the nail as at the front of the nail, if you see that here. It doesn't change width so much. This one tapers towards the front much more. Then if we look at the almond shape, the biggest difference there is I think these start with a narrower base also, but they also taper towards the front, though not as crazy as the coffin. But then the front of it is not flat like the Squoval or the coffin, it's actually a pointed front. So it's much more of a point at the front of your nail than the other two. The other two end much more flat. So here's again what they look like, not on my nails, but on a piece of paper. So you have the Squoval, in the middle, the almond, and then all the way on the left, the black is going to be the coffin shape. So you can see that the Squoval is much more even in the width throughout, and then the almond and the coffin are much more tapered. The almond is the pointiest in the front, whereas the other two are more flat in the front shape. So hopefully this helps you guys get an idea of the kind of nails you might like and the kind of shape that you want to buy. So which nail shape should you choose? This is really going to be a huge personal preference thing for you. I will say don't feel bad if all the shapes don't work for you, because like I was saying before, like the almond ones are a lot of the time almost too narrow for the base of my nails. And I also am not a huge fan of how pointy this front is. Also, I sometimes struggle with the coffin shape because sometimes my nails are wider here than the coffin, or it's too wide here in the back because my nails are very like straight up and down the shape of them. And so the Squoval is by far the easiest shape for me to fit on my nails. So what I'm trying to say is don't feel bad if all the nail shapes don't work for your fingers. If they do, lucky you, you have choices and you get to pick your nail shape just based on aesthetics. But if you're one of those people where it doesn't all work for you, don't feel bad. I think that's pretty common. So let's talk about what the imPRESS collection has to offer as far as designs go. So you're gonna hear some different collection names. So every package will say the imPRESS, and then it will say something under it here. Like this one says limited edition. These were holiday ones. That's why it says that. Then you're also gonna see ones like this where it says imPRESS color. So this is their solid colored collection. The other collections they have in the imPRESS are the glazed donut, bare French, modern French, imPRESS limited edition, that's like the holiday ones I just showed you, imPRESS color, and imPRESS zodiac. So that's pretty much all the collections they have to offer on their website in the imPRESS type of nails. Now within all of these, there's going to be a variety of finishes that you can get for your nails so that you can have a more glossy nail, a more matte nail, a more shimmery nail, a more glittery nail, or a more metallic nail. So I'll also show you some of those now so you can see just how big the range is and the kind of designs that they have at imPRESS. It really is impressive. Oh my gosh, I did not mean to make that pun at all, but it fits really well here. It's really impressive because I feel like there really is something for everybody here. If you're more of a classic solid girly, you can pick the French manicures or just the color ones that are just a plain solid color. But if you're more into the fun designs and you want to really dress it up for holidays, you totally have options there as well. One thing I will say to note is that you generally have in one that's a design color. So for example, this was a holiday design, obviously, with sort of a candy cane and then some special designs here. So there'll be 30 nails in a pack, and generally you'll get less of the fancy design ones and then more of the solid colored ones. So for example, in this one, there's 6 like this with the stripes, and there's 6 with these sort of special designs, and then all the rest of them are going to be the dark green. So you can kind of decide, you know, how you want to use those accent nails in your nails, but that's kind of the general distribution with most of the ones that I've seen that have the special designs in them and have a variety of different styles within one pack. So here I made a little card to show you the different finishes that I just mentioned. So we have over here in the light robin's egg blue matte. So you can see, I think you can see pretty well on the camera, it doesn't reflect the light. Look at how the other ones, when I move it, you can sort of see light reflecting in them. And the matte, you don't see that at all, like that shiny like mirror effect, none of that in the matte. Gloss, I would say, is the regular finish, so that's what you see in the dark green here. So that kind of just looks like if you did a nice clear coat over your nail polish, that kind of look. Shimmer is a little bit metallic almost. It has sort of a little bit of a sparkle quality if you look up close in there, in that shimmer. Metallic is just what it says, metallic, so you can really almost see your reflection or the reflection of my window that's behind the camera in that one. And then glitter, well, we know what glitter is. We love glitter. So glitter is just that all over sparkly effect. So these are the finishes that you're going to see in all the different nail designs, and they'll repeat over and over again, whether it's you're talking about a design nail or a solid color nail. So I hope this helps you to kind of get an idea of what the look will be as well. I will note all of these here, just for your reference, are in the squoval shape. They're just different sizes of nails. I've been putting this together, like I said, for a while from lots of different kits. And so I kind of have just been using the nails I have left over to make these little cards and these little displays for you guys, but I hope this helps. I would say, in my opinion, one of the highlights of the imPRESS nails is really just their color line. They have such a huge variety in colors and so many great kind of colors that you'd actually wear, lots of neutrals, and you can basically just have a perfect manicure of color, and it takes you like 5 minutes to put on. So here's a few of my favorites: this white, this dark blue called Pine and Yew, this gray called Grayitude, like gratitude but grayitude, and this gray purple color called Try Gray. So this is more of a dark gray blue, and this is more of a gray purple kind of color. But I think these are just great staples, super easy, and I don't see as much of the solid color choices in the glue-on nails as I do in the stick-on nails. So I think that's one of the highlights of the imPRESS collection. To show you some of the special designs you can get in the imPRESS, check out these ones by Tom Batchik. I don't know who that is, but he did a limited edition collaboration of these metallic looking nails with Kiss. These ones are really pretty for Christmas, so it includes some sparkly ones as well as some sort of frosted matte looking ones with holly ivy on it. These ones have even rhinestones on them. They're shimmer and glitter sort of mixed pack for Christmas time. And then these green ones with these special design nails I already kind of mentioned earlier. But these are just some examples of the kind of really pretty special design nails that they have in the imPRESS collection by Kiss. So this now covers everything on the imPRESS or the stick-on nail side of the chart that I made. Here's a couple honorable mentions as well that I didn't get to show earlier in the video. But be sure to join me next week when I go over the other side of the chart, which is going to be the Kiss glue-on nails and everything about them. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye, YouTube.